Hey Pisces, Pisces rising, welcome to your monthly forecast for February 2025. Excited to be here with you today because it's going to be a major month for you. You're the main character of February, and happy solar return to all those celebrating. There's so much in store for you, so keep on watching to find out how you may be impacted. This is your month. Happy solar return. And even if you don't have the sun in Pisces, but you have your rising in Pisces, or maybe you have a lot of planets in Pisces, or even just one significant placement in Pisces, you're going to be one of the zodiac signs that will be impacted the most throughout 2025, but especially when it comes to February, March, and April. And the reason why is because we've just had the North Node move into Pisces. It's at 29 degrees as I'm recording this, and it's going to make so many mystical alignments with all the other placements and planets that are in Pisces. So there's just going to be so much emphasis on this energy. And also there's going to be a new moon in your sign. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to go through this video in chronological order, and then we'll get into that. So let's first start off with February the 4th and what's going down, because we've got two major energies going on. So on February the 4th, we have Venus that enters Aries, which means it moves out of Pisces and moves into Aries. Now, Venus moving into Aries is preparing us for Venus retrograde, because when we get into March, Venus will be in retrograde and it will move back into your sign Pisces. So monitor and make notes of anything that you are feeling, anything that's going around in terms of your relationships. It could be a marriage, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be like a partnership, a friendship, any sort of significant relationship. Because when the time comes when Mercury will also go in retrograde, but Venus goes retrograde, a lot of the little things that are occurring now that you're picking up on will come to the surface, and you'll have to really navigate through them, because when we have Venus retrograde, it makes us go inwards into some of the more deeper parts of our relationships, the shadows, the things that are not working out, the things that need reassessing, reanalyzing. And when it comes to when Venus moves into Pisces, when it's in retrograde, this is more about a restructuring, because Saturn is currently in Pisces, the South Node is in Virgo, and although the destiny point is in Pisces and there's so much Pisces energy, we have to also look at what is the opposite energy, because when you have too much of something, you need to balance, and the balance occurs when you look at the opposite sign. So relationships may need a restructuring, a deep analysis. They may require some logic, because the thing about when Venus goes retrograde into Pisces and there's just Neptune in Pisces, a North Node in Pisces, so much Piscean energy, you can really focus on just the emotions and the romantic happy ever after, the fantasy that you're hoping for. And I want you to be careful with that, because often, when we want somebody so much, or we want a relationship to work out so much, we start to romanticize it. And this is coming from someone who has a Venus and Neptune conjunction, okay? But luckily for me, I've had Pluto go over my Venus and Neptune, so any type of illusions, any type of fantasy or romanticizing a toxic relationship, I had to learn the hard way. I had to literally, part of me had to come to an end. A part of my soul had to really just come to an end, where I had to be reborn again to this new version of myself in order to learn these really deep lessons when it comes to love and relationships. So be very cautious of how you're feeling, because it's so easy to get swept off your feet. It's so easy to take someone's promise as if it's going to be literal. It's so easy also with the Piscean energy to be deceived, or to just focus on what you want to believe rather than the facts. So discern between facts and fiction, or truth and illusions. Okay? And reality versus what could be. It's so important. But when Venus moves into Aries, it will move into your second house. Now, of course, this depends on your chart. I am working with a whole sign house system, so this may differ. If you want to get deeper, book a one-to-one reading. I work with a Placidus house system in one-to-one sessions. But with this, Venus moving into the second house, there is a focus on resources. When it comes to what you own, when it comes to money, when it comes to how you feel about yourself as well. Often, how we feel about ourselves, our self-worth, our confidence manifests into the finances. It manifests into our resources. It manifests into how much we can attract abundance into our life. So that may be a theme as well that you have to go over during this time. With Venus in Aries, Venus is very fiery during this time. Venus is also very combative in this sign. So that's something to be very cautious and conscious of as well. Venus also can impact your creativity and creative projects. With it being in the second house, that may emphasize on projects that you work on in order to bring forth abundance into your life, resources, finances. So that's something that maybe what you're going to be working on as well during this build up till Venus retrograde. Also on February the 4th, Jupiter goes direct in the sign of Gemini at 11 degrees. That's impacting your fourth house of home, family, your sanctuary, your temple. This is where you go to retreat. So now it's moving forward, and this area of life is also going to start to move forward. Anything, any lessons, any thoughts, any epiphanies that you have had during Jupiter being in retrograde and going backwards, well, now is the time to apply those lessons, integrate them, and move forward. And there could be a lot of changes and shifts regarding home, family, and your personal life as well. February the 7th. Neptune, your ruler, the planet of dreams, a planet of intuition, the planet of higher consciousness, spirituality, creativity, will be in a conjunction with the North Node, which is also in your sign. Now, this is a major mystical point because the North Node is conjunct the ruler of the sign it's in. So this could be a time where you can get a lot of like vivid dreams. Your intuition can be very heightened. Your creativity is going to be on an all-time high. So if you work with creativity in whatever form or fashion, whether it's writing, whether it's music, fashion, any type of arts, there's just an abundance of different forms of art. This is a great time to work with that because you're going to be able to channel so much creativity. There's also a focus and emphasis here on your spirituality, really taking the limelight and expanding in that, your gifts and abilities. So that's all the positive, but there are shadows that exist as well. And with the North Node and especially Neptune is also known as an energy that wants to take you away, where it's fantasy la la land, where sometimes there can be trickster energy or some type of deceit or some type of cloudiness or mist when it comes to your judgment. This is also an energy that is very hidden, and there's just like a lot of things that are invisible here where you can't really put your finger on it. There could also be a lot of escapism. So those are some of the shadows that you need to be mindful of, where you are, yes, working with your creativity, working with your spirituality, but very mindfully, working with those aspects very consciously, very logically as well. Even though, yes, we're in the North Node in Pisces, where it's all about the creativity, the spirituality, the higher realms, the higher upper chakras, but you still got to have both feet on the ground. And like I said earlier, when there's too much of one energy, you have to look at the opposite energy to balance it out. So this would be a good time to, although the South Node is a past and it's in Virgo, it's still a good time to use that Virgo energy, such as being grounded, being practical, and being logical, so that you can make the most out of this, and so that you don't get under the shadow influence of Neptune. So that's something to be mindful of. This is also going to be interesting on how it plays out in the world stage and collectively. I was actually reminded of this the other day. Once I finished recording this video that I was doing on February and the major changes that were going to occur, I spoke about this abundance of Pisces energy. And then the following day, I just started to get these kind of like weird energy ebbs and flows in my body, and I couldn't understand what was going on with me. And this was so like Piscean. And I mean, the North Node is like almost close to Neptune. And then I started to think about what is going on in the world stage, what is currently, spewing up. And this is also a time to focus on health and wellness. Like, there may be an emphasis on that. It's Neptune, and it's the North Node, which is the energy we're moving forward into. So that's something to also be mindful of, okay? But when it comes to the more positive aspect of this, it's just so etheric, so divine, and so etheric. Let's move on to February the 12th. We're going to have a full moon in Leo, and this full moon is going to occur at 24 degrees. So let's talk about how that will impact you. Sun will be in your 12th house and the moon will be in your 6th house. These two areas of life are associated with the Pisces and Virgo axis. So this again emphasizes that during this full moon, the week of the full moon, there may be something that comes up that makes you focus on the mind, body, soul, and spirit, especially health and wellness, okay? That is very emphasized throughout February and moving forward. There's so much Piscean energy, and especially with the South Node in Virgo as well. So with a full moon here for you in your 12th and 6th house, focus on mind, body, soul, and spirit, and health and wellness. What is it that you could let go of or release from your life that is not serving you, that is actually disrupting your wellness, that is not in harmony with your mind, body, soul, and spirit, especially when you're on the path of ascension? There's just a lot you have to take into account. Am I really, truly living a life where I'm in harmony, where I am nurturing myself, where I am taking care of myself? Spirituality and ascension, it's more than just the here are my triggers and this is the shadow work that I need to do and let me meditate for 30 minutes. Like, there's these amazing crystals that I found that are going to help me expand my consciousness. It's so much more than that. It's about really taking care, nurturing, and nourishing this human vessel that you're in. Like, it starts with the lower chakras and then you move upwards. So huge emphasis on health and wellness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. With the moon in the 6th house, there could also be an emphasis on work here. That could be huge as well. There could be a change in work. Now, what's really triggering this full moon is Uranus. Uranus is currently in Taurus, and it will be making a challenging aspect with this full moon. However, with these squares, and it's going to be a T-square, so it's going to be triggering the sun and the moon, there can be unpredictable changes or shifts that occur that may seem a bit challenging or difficult to even comprehend, but sometimes they push you so that you can align to your true path, so you can make that change that is necessary, that needs to be made. So some of you can expect like a major change in even work, or even with like your wellness routine, or just like your daily routine, your daily structure of your life. Something significantly may change to put you in a direction where you can be your best self. Okay, so that's the full moon. Now let's move on to what else is changing, and that is on February the 14th, Mercury, the planet of communication and thinking, is moving into your sign. So again, emphasizing on creativity. This is a time where your conversations may be very deep and intuitive, very sensitive, and again, emphasizing on the empathy here. So that could be beautiful, but do remember that when we move forward into March, it's retrograde season. Mercury is one of the planets that will also move into retrograde. It'll move into Aries, and then during its retrograde cycle, it will move back into Pisces. So sometimes some of the hiccups can start earlier on. Just make a note of that. Just, analyze that. Have a journal where you can assess what's currently going on in your life. But other than that, it's a great time to really connect on a more deeper level with other people. That is beautiful. February the 18th, the sun moves into Pisces. This is a new chapter. This is a new cycle for you, a new beginning. So whether or not you have the sun in Pisces, excuse me, that's my dog playing with his ball. whether you have the sun or any other planets, something that is really dominant and significant in your chart that is Piscean, this is still a great time to celebrate this day and be in those Piscean energies of creativity and spirituality and art, because it's a new chapter, it's a new leaf, and it's a time to celebrate and be in that moment. February the 23rd, Mars goes direct, and it's been in retrograde since 2024. Now, on February the 23rd, it's going to go direct, and it's going to go direct at 17 degrees, which means that it will be impacting your 5th house. So any type of shadows that you've had to go over, or anything that you've had to kind of reanalyze, rethink, now it's time to move forward. Sure, Mars will be in its shadow phase, but things will gradually pick up. Okay, so any lessons regarding this area of life, and for you, it may be either the inner child, it may be connected to your children, it may have been connected to even relationships, or even how you find joy in life. This area now is moving forward. So any type of conflicts, or any type of issues, or any type of shadows that you've had to navigate through, it's time to move forward now. So just take in those lessons. Mars is going direct. Now let's end on a beautiful note, and that's February the 27th. We have a new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees. This is going to impact those that have 9 degrees of Pisces, or your planets close by to 9 degrees. And there's so many Piscean placements here. We're looking at the sun, we're looking at the moon, we've got Mercury, we've got Saturn, we've got Neptune, and the North Node. So collectively, something major may happen connected to the Piscean energy. When I look at it collectively, there could be some sort of illusion, kind of like mind spell, or collective emotional chaos or trickster energy, confusion. That's typical with Piscean energy, right? This could also apply to you individually, depending on what's going on in your life, where you can have this emotional overwhelm. But when we look at it from the positive, this is again emphasizing on spirituality, your connection with the divine, your arts, your creativity, your gifts, your abilities, your intuition, your dreams, the ability to create so much magic into your life. It's Pisces, the last zodiac sign, so there's so much magic connected to it. And this could be a new beginning for a lot of yous, especially those that are being impacted the most by this new moon, where something new can occur in your life, where it can actually fulfill a certain dream or goal that you've had. Perhaps there's this new opportunity that comes into your life that you've been hoping and wishing for. There could be something new that occurs for you. And this would, of course, depend on all the other aspects that are occurring in your natal birth chart as well. There can also be like an emphasis on water, healing. There could also be an emphasis on just like having so much etheric celestial energy coming through. Sometimes the chaos of this 3D world kind of overpowers the celestial energy, and we kind of find it difficult to tap into it, but it's there. Both light and dark exist. So take a look at your chart and look at where 9 degrees of Pisces falls, because that's where there's going to be a lot of energy and you may expect a lot of changes. So Pisces rising, wishing you all the best, and have an incredible month and enjoy it as much as you can. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see your monthly horoscope for March, because March is a major month. There's an eclipse, there's a Venus retrograde, it's the beginning of the astrological new year. There's so many changes occurring. So if you want to see your monthly forecast for March, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up or leaving me a comment. And if you want to go deeper and learn more about your chart and what's in store for you the next coming year, let me know by checking out my booking website, and I'll see you very soon. Lots of love.